how have you managed to get on with your life whilst carrying the grief? Because as somebody who people depend on so much,
Yeah.
Richard, how are you able to embrace that grief to use it moving forward?
Let me tell you a little story. There's a guy called Ian Jackson, American author, who writes about grief. And he talks about the ranch on which he grew up. And around the edge of the ranch was barbed wire, as you would expect. And he said in one place there was a sapling that was chafing against the barbed wire and it just wouldn't grow. But a bit further on, there was a big old oak tree that had grown around the barbed wire and incorporated it. And that's me, I think. So all of this that's in the book, the grief, the pain, the new light on some of my beliefs, that has become part of me now. So I'd never, ever want to move on from it, but I do grow with it. I had 3 months bereavement leave. And then when I got back into the pulpit, about 2 months into that, somebody came up to me at the door afterwards, a lot of people do with preachers. And they said, "We're so glad you talk about Fiona in the pulpit because it makes it real. So glad you talk about what you're feeling." Now, it would be wrong to abuse that. For goodness sake, if my poor church had to listen to me talking about how I feel on every sermon, I would be failing them. But I think I would also be failing them if it never came up. And so, how have I moved on? I've moved on by incorporating this, like the barbed wire in the oak tree, and becoming a different shape as a result.
And is that the advice that you would give to somebody else? If you had yourself sitting opposite you, what would you say to them?
I would hesitate to give advice, but yes, I think so. I would say, you can't move beyond this. You can only move on with it. In the same way, when God's people were traveling across the desert, they carried the tabernacle with them. They carried God's presence with them. He didn't say, "Off you pop, I'll meet you the other side." And he said, "I'll go with you." And so I would say, take this grief with you. Some days it will be so heavy you'll have to put it down and stop. Other days, it will actually give you energy. It will actually be something you want to carry with you. But yeah, keep it with you.